This is going to be my first ever film review for my YouTube channel. I decided to make them. I really love films, and today I'm going to be talking about Death Proof, which was part of Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse double feature that came out in 2009. The thing is, I'm a massive fan of Quentin Tarantino and his films, and this to be honest is probably his worst film. The way that he's been praised before for writing for a lot of the main characters in his films and makes the film a lot more entertaining, it's been amazing at doing, like adding pop culture references, even some like the ones that you don't understand. It doesn't even matter because you know it's still cool. But in this film, the main characters are pretty much all women, and Tarantino, I think, has a problem with writing for women in this kind of film. I mean, in Kill Bill, he writes perfectly fine for the women, but in this film, the women aren't. The women are like meant to be women, but they speak like men. The film's in two halves, really. The first half is about a group of 4 women that go to a bar and get drunk and hang out with some guys and going off to a little cottage that you never see because they never make it because they die. Spoiler alert, but still, if you're going to watch it, you pretty much know it's going to happen. And the guy that kills them with his car. It's pretty cool, played by Kurt Russell. He wasn't actually the first choice for this role, which kind of is an indication how mediocre this film really is. But in the bar, like, things happen. There's probably about 40 minutes of them just sitting in a bar talking about crap that doesn't matter. You know, some of the conversations are interesting, some of them aren't. Most of them aren't, actually. And Kurt Russell's character is actually Stuntman Mike, who plays he plays the killer in this film. The killer, and he stalks these women to a bar. And apparently one of the women has to give him a lap dance. It's shoddily done, there's no point in it. The lap dance goes on for like 5 minutes, it's boring, nothing happens, it's just him sitting there. But like, when it gets to it, the violence in this film is probably worth it, in the first half anyway. About 55 minutes into the film, they finally leave in the cars, and Kurt Russell has offered to give one girl a lift. This girl does know the 4 girls, but isn't a member of the 4 girls like friends group, and he offers to give her a lift if she's going where he is going. This all goes horribly wrong for her because they get to the first junction and he says, "Which way do you want to go, left or right?" And he's going left, and she wants to go right, but he just goes left. And his car, because he's a stuntman, is death proof. Starts speeding down this lane. It's the middle of the night, it's all dark. This girl's starting to get really scared. She is in a little passenger seat. There's not even a seat there, it's just a little pot thing that she's sitting in. And he speeds up really fast. She's screaming for help. She's like scraping down the window, asking for his forgiveness, stuff like that. And he just slams on the brake, and she goes catapulted into the glove compartment. And you see her like rolling around the side of the car, all blood everywhere, screaming, sobbing in misery. And that's pretty much her end. And then he comes back for the other 4 girls in their car. Now, one of them, they're all pretty drunk. One of them, the girl that's driving, you don't even know, she gets introduced like 10 minutes before this accident. Kurt Russell in his car with the lights off, just going head on towards these girls in the car. There's a girl with her leg out the window. There's a girl that did the lap dance at the back, and basically I really liked how this scene was edited, because what it shows is Stuntman Mike going and crashing into this car, but for every girl in the car crashes differently, but he only has 1 collision. So it shows you like the car crashing into the other one, and the woman, I think, in the front seat just smacks against the front of the car, and she's dead. And then quick little editing thing, he turns on his lights, and then bam, he smashes into it again. And then the other lady in the front gets covered in glass, starts like smashing into her. Then bam, the lights are on again. He goes bam, he smashes into this car, and the girl's leg goes out the window, just gets completely dismembered. You see it like flying in slow motion, all the blood's like spewing everywhere. It's pretty cool. And the fourth one, the one that gave him a lap dance, is in the back seat of the car, and he just goes smashing into it again. But this time the car somehow elevates over the other car, so it smashes into it, flies through the air, and then the wheel, as that car is going through the air, the wheel like mashes up her face, like treads along her face, and her face like really messy, really gory, really cool. And then it's the end of the scene. But then we have the second half of the film, which is a lot more entertaining, although the acting gets worse. It's a lot nicer to look at. And there's like 4 new girls. I think they're all movie stars, stunt doubles, stuff like that. They're in this car, and this guy is really creepy. He's taking pictures of them. He's like come up next to them in the car, and one of the girls has their feet out the window, and he like licks her foot. And they decide that one of them's from New Zealand, and she decides that in America she wants to get a Dodge Challenger, I think, from the 70s, which is a Vanishing Point, which is another reference that they just blurted out there. That she wants to use that car and have a little test drive. These girls are boring as hell to watch. Their conversations, before, like I was saying, that Tarantino is making them talk like they're men. This is the part where they're talking like men. The first half of the movie, yeah, it was alright, but they weren't continuously blurting out obscenities and being racial slurs. There's no need for like all of the swear words and the N words and the curses that they're saying. You don't care about these girls. But then you see that one of them wants to do a ship flag on this new car that they're going out for a test. And you're wondering what the hell's a ship flag? I didn't know what it was, and if it is actually real, then maybe you won't. But you know, and she literally lays on the car while one of them speeds ahead, lays on the bonnet of the car, only holding on to 2 belts strapped to the windows, and her friend is just like speeding down this road in the middle of nowhere. And guess what? Stuntman Mike comes out from nowhere and starts attacking them. Now, this section of the film is pretty spectacular, stunt-wise, special effects-wise. You know, these stunt people did exceedingly well. There's a woman on a car, face down, so her feet, like she's looking at the road as it's coming towards her, and she's clinging on for dear life. And then like Stuntman Mike's car is just smacking into them continuously, breaking this car that they haven't bought, and they're just going out for a test run. Stuntman Mike, they both stop suddenly. This goes on for about 10 minutes. This whole chase, and it's really entertaining, gripping stuff. And one of the girl on the bonnet gets catapulted off. Stuntman Mike comes out of his car, and he's just like, "Well, that was a laugh. That was right fun, girls." And like, one of the girls pulls out a gun and shoots him in the arm, and he starts screaming like a little girl, and he gets in his car and he runs away crying, pouring like whiskey in his arm to make it better because he's scared. But nothing like that. He's just in pain and he's terrified about what these girls are going to do to him. And he goes off and he thinks he's safe. And then what you see is like the shot of like his car, the rear view mirror in his car, and he just gets smacked. And this girl, the girl that came off the car, has got this pipe, and she starts smacking him in his arm and his head. And then the chase scene is now converted from him chasing them to chasing him, and he's screaming. He only has one hand. This is a lot more tense than the first one, because this is all about revenge. You want these girls to get revenge on this guy for what he's done to them and for what he's done to the first set of girls. And you really don't care how they're going to do it, and you don't know if they are going to do it. There's a moment of, obviously, like they lose them and Mike, and there's a moment of course he's going to get killed. And the last blowout scene where he gets absolutely destroyed is pretty cool, but it's kind of ruined at the end, because he's in the car that's all wrecked. I won't like go into the accident. I thought it was pretty cool. The car's all wrecked, and he's screaming and blood everywhere. And these girls get out and they drag him out of the car, and he's like, "My right arm is broken. Don't hurt me." Not in a British accent, but you know. And drag him out of the car. And then there's just continuous shots of these girls punching him in the face from his view, from their view. About 50 times he gets punched in the face. And I know this is Grindhouse. It's meant to be Grindhouse. It's meant to be gory. It's meant to be insane. It's meant to be terrifying, terrific, amazing, just exaggerated stuff. But why couldn't they have done that in the start of the film? For the first hour, there was a cool bit of violence, but then that was it. There's nothing. But like the second half of the film, you get a lot of tension, a lot of terror for these people, and are they going to live? You know, you want them to live, even though you don't care for them. You still want them to live because Stuntman Mike's a dickhead. And then like you just see them pummeling his face in. It's just like, why? Why do you really need to do that? And then it's like the end. It's still better than quite a few films, to be honest. But if you're going to watch this film, I've seen the film twice. The first time I watched it was a while ago when it came out, and this time I watched it, I recently bought the Blu-ray of it, and it was £4, so I thought, why not? Planet Terror also, Rodriguez's version of the Grindhouse, or his section of it, I also bought, which is a much better film in every aspect. But it was worth £4 because of that 20-minute car chase scene at the end in Blu-ray. It's pretty awesome. But to be honest, I did absolutely love the end of this film. Like the last half an hour to 20 minutes of this film is just amazing. It really is good. If you want to watch something cool, just fast-paced action, watch the end of this film. Don't watch the start. It's not fast-paced at all. After all the negative things I've given it to it, I don't really mind it. I'd say like the story and the film on its own, without the cool actionness, would be about 5 out of 10, which is kind of average. Right? You have seen a lot of worse films than this, I guarantee you. But then when you throw in the action, you throw in the gore, even though there's not a lot of gore, you throw in a bit of gore, but you throw in that amazingly tense chase scene at the end, and it all is worth it, because that is amazing. So this has been my first film review for my YouTube channel. I hope you enjoyed it. That was Death Proof.